Woo! A little Going Away BBQ action one more time for the U.S. General. Oh, let's take a look. Oh, that looks so good. Damn. All right, hopefully there's enough light in the shop for you guys to see how I use the MATCO tool grid setup, make it work for me. There were a few pieces that were a little bit lacking in my opinion, so I guess you're probably gonna spend between $400 and $600, but here we go. All right, so here's some baggies. You can see that they give you tool handle. They give you another one that's tool handle. They also have one that's tool tip. You'll see that in the box. They give you 2 bags of 3/8 drive tips for the sockets. 1 bag of 25 in red, 1 bag of 25 in blue. They do the same thing with 1/4 inch. Again, 1 bag of 25 in red, 1 in blue. See, here's the blue. I haven't done my 1/4 inch stuff yet. I'm probably gonna save that just for later because I don't know. I don't want everything flopping around. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a little bit. And then they give you the 2 bags of 1/2 inch, again, red and blue. Here's just some random 1/2 inch that I had left. Let's open up the drawer and I'll show you how the MATCO tool grid layout looks for me. All right, so at first I was like, what the, right? Because I wasn't expecting it to be, I don't want to call it cheesy, but it kind of seemed a little bit cheesy at first. But the more I started installing the stuff, the more I liked it. All right, so here we go. Here I have some oversized metric, goes from 24 up to the 30 millimeter. And then we got some Husky, 18 inch, and then SAE and Husky that goes from like 1 inch all the way up to, I think, 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. This was kind of cool. So with the tool handle thing, I was able to put 2 pieces in there and my lug nut socket with extension fits in there beautifully. Notice I have a bunch of 1/4 inch stuff that I haven't done anything with yet. That's fine. That's all going to stay there for now. Baggies are going to get pushed into the drawer since tomorrow's moving day. I kept some stuff in the blow molded cases only because I do not have enough pegs to fit and accommodate all the sockets. That's why you only see a small grid square here of sockets that are set up, mostly in 1/2 inch really. So there's our Tecton set. We got those icon swivels behind it. The monster spark plug socket set behind the ratchets. You can see how I have these ratchets laid out. Now I do believe they gave me, what was it, 4? I think it was 4 1/4 inch tips for the ratchets. So we got our snap-on little universal that fits in there, the gear wrench one, the Techie Town one, and the little MATCO one, okay? Lots of fixed heads, flex heads, and universal heads. A 3/8 drive, they gave you 1, where's the other one? Oh yeah, 2, 3. So they gave you 3 for the 3/8 drive. My surprise, they did not give you any 1/2 inch drive tips for the ratchets. So that's kind of like a bummer, right? And then of course I ran out of 3/8 drive one and I had to choose between the little tiny snap-on flexi one or the longer one. So I chose to leave the longer one just in a couple of handle things. 1/4 inch extensions, I kind of hid them here in the back end because it leaves you just about a 1/4 inch gap on the top and on the side once you get everything laid out. I liked the way that the extensions laid into these little tool tips, okay? These things worked out great for this. So I was able to put all my extensions kind of here and then the longest one here with my precision straight edge. Awkward tool that kind of flopped about, but I was able to figure something out here. I put a tool tip end there, and then I put a tool end cap there. So it kind of works, you know, kind of just keeps it nice and organized. All right, so this is how the tool grid looks right now. Unfortunately, I do not believe I'm gonna be able to show you an updated version once I get the 1/4 inch. Just realize with the 1/4 inch stuff, it's most likely gonna stay pretty much where it is in here and just have those little socket grids right in here, okay? So imagine how they are now, but then just taking these little guys and then all right in here, right? That's pretty much what the plan is. For the triple squares and the square drive sockets, which I don't use a lot, those are just going to stay on the plastic rails and they can hang out right there. These 3 rows right here, these 3 rows are going to go on the grid. I'm just not going to worry about it tonight. So this is how it worked, and this is how it's set up. Now, do I believe it was worth $250? I want to tell you yes, and I want to tell you no. Let me go into the reasons why. All right, for years, okay, I've been doing this for a decade. It took me the betterment of about, God, I want to say 6, maybe 7 years of turning wrenches to find any kind of socket organization system or even tool organization system that really worked for me. I juggled between all different types of organizers. I'm talking about that cheap ass crap that you got from Harbor Freight with the stand-up pegs that doesn't even fit their own sockets. I'm talking about the closer knockoff that at least fit most of the sockets that Craftsman tried to sell. I got away from the stand-up peg style, went to the twist and lock Husky ones that would break from time to time. I tried the MATCO tray with the little sliders in between that was twist and lock. That never fit all the sockets, nor could I really accommodate the amount of sockets that I wanted in there. I tried those stupid metal clip ones on the sticks that you could cut down to size and whatever and screw into a piece of wood. I've tried that. Guys, I've tried so many different organizers. I just was never really satisfied until I found some magnetic ones that Cobalt sold. And I was like, hey, look, it keeps them standing up. It's in the box. It seems to hold them well. It fits most of all the sockets. You know what? From here on out, that's the only organizer I'm ever going to use sockets for. In time, those things collect, muck and oil and just nasty junk in them, which is whatever to me, right? I'm a grunt heavy line mechanic. Really didn't pay me too much bother until you start moving it from whatever box you're in to the next one. And now it's like you're putting all this stuff into a clean box. You know it's going to get dirty and screwed up, so you try to ignore the fact, but I still tried to give them a little wipe down. That's how I stuck them in here initially. Just gave it a wipe down, put them in. I want to tell you that I do like the way that it's laid out. My fear is that when I have a tow truck come to the shop to pick this up and it's jouncing up and down the highway on the way to the dealership, that maybe some of those get broke. I think I'm gonna lay a blanket over the top. Maybe that'll minimize some of the jouncing and I won't have tools all over the place. But that's the nature of moving a toolbox full of tools. Could I empty out the entire thing and then put it all back in? Sure, but do you wanna know how many hours I spent on this? To transfer everything over from that Jamestown and the 56 over into this, I still didn't have enough room for everything, so I took some stuff home. I was here for about 5 hours, maybe 6 hours organizing. Today, I came in early. I kind of started on the grid thing. I started right around my lunchtime, so about 10 in the morning-ish, somewhere around there. Went at it for about an hour while I was snacking on some junk because we were getting ready to do a barbecue, which you guys saw. So just kind of messed around with it while barbecue was being cooked up. Kind of got to a stopping point, went back to my job. Some of the jobs I was doing today didn't pan out. I took the transmission out of this clutch job that came in that we did about a month ago. You guys probably saw the video on that. Customer was thinking that we really didn't do the job, but in fact, I had the YouTube video up. So he apologized. He didn't mean to say, he just said that the job, it looked so clean, it looked like no one had been there. So we took it as a compliment because that's how we try to be. We try to be professional and make sure that it looks like we were never there. So at any rate, once you saw the video footage that we actually did go through it, I dropped this transmission. Guess what? The clutch that we ordered to come back in because we had a faulty throwout bearing, incorrect part. So tomorrow morning, the Mini Cooper. All right, I still don't have a manifolder gasket for the exhaust, so I can't put the exhaust. So stopping point on the Mini Cooper. Transmission job, that one got done. So I was done doing the transmission on that. That wasn't a big deal. Now there's another issue that might not be transmission related. So, end of the day, cleaning everything up before I decided to start filming some of this stuff while the shop's nice and closed. Decided to throw a few more pegs in here, set it up to be a little bit more practical and functional. But do I think it's worth 250 bucks? I just don't know, you know? I think time tells all. I like the fact there's no weird twist and lock on them, that you can literally just set the socket on and pull the socket off. Like I said, other than jouncing around, I mean, it looks good. I think it looks good. It definitely looks clean. Is it taking up real estate? I guess in some ways, if you look at it like that. In other ways, I think it actually opens everything up and it gives you a better eye view of what it is that you got. There's a few sockets that I got to play with in my head of what it is that I'm putting in here. Like there's some certain 12 points I want to make sure that I have, especially when it comes to like flex plates and flywheels. Those oftentimes are 19 millimeter, 18, somewhere in there. I think for BMW, I got an 18 12 point and a half inch. I should probably bring a 19 over. And then we got the 13, so. And it's hard, dude. It's hard moving everything over from one box to the other. It's even harder trying to move everything from one shop to another. So that's my food for thought on the Matco pegboard tool organizer set, okay? Is it worth it? I think so. I think so, but damn, does it come at a cost. I'll let you know how I feel about it in the coming months after utilizing it. You guys know that. I need some more time with it, really. It's just a really expensive organizer, but if you think about all the money that I spent on organizers throughout the years, I probably paid for 3 of these grid systems. So maybe it is worth it. Something to think about. All right, we're gonna answer a viewer's question before we wrap it up and head back to the house. They wanted to know, what kind of specialty tools do you need as a mechanic? That's such a broad range question. I've done several videos. I think underneath the Tool Talk playlist, they could also be in the Mechanic Insight playlist as far as specialty tool stuff. There was a video that I did a while back of what it was that I considered a specialty tool, and people thought I was an idiot because, you know, a puller would be considered a specialty tool, not a universal socket. So they all thought I was dumb, right? People could think of me being dumb all they want. Fact of the matter is, I see things differently than other people. Like, nobody sees things in the exact same way as another person. For me, a Torx bit, an E-Torx, is a specialty socket, is it not? It's not hex, it's not metric, it's not SAE, it's a specialty socket. So that's a specialty tool. A universal socket could be a specialty socket because most of them are supposed to be fixed. The other thing that I had said was specialty tools could be anything borrowed. I mean, think about that. If all Tommy has is a basic gear wrench, SAE metric, deep shallow, extension, plus fixed head rackets, that's all he has. And none of that works for the job, and he has to borrow it, it's a specialty tool. I'm off my soapbox. Real specialty tools. Okay, so let's check it out. What are you doing? Are you working at a dealership? Are you working at an independent shop? Are you working on one manufacturer? Are you working on many manufacturers? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Second question would be, what is your niche in your field as a mechanic, whether it's dealership or whether you're at an independent shop? Are you a heavy line guy doing engine pulls and trans pulls? Are you steering, suspension, and brakes? Or is most of your stuff revolved around lift kits, alignments, brakes, torsion bars, things like that? This is going to help you when it comes to like picking a specialty, like selected area of specialty tools. Shane has a ton of specialty tools when it comes to steering, suspension, and brakes that I do not have. Tommy has a lot of specialty things that I do not have. I have a lot of specialty things that they do not have. So we all kind of share amongst each other here at this shop. The dealership, all the specialty tools that are required for that manufacturer are going to be in the special tool room. So guess what? Most dealer techs don't have to buy a whole bunch of specialty tools because they're available. All you got to do is ask your shop foreman, manager, whoever's in charge to go into the specialty tool room, check out the item, use it, and then return it. But you got stuff like you know, stud extractors. Okay, this is kind of like a specialty tool. Why? Because you don't hardly ever use it, right? It's one of those things that when things happen and you need it, they're handy to have. So this is a standard set. I've got plates. So for old school muscle cars, right? This goes on top of the intake. Put your bolts in, and now you can lift the engine up by the intake, right? So I got that. Power steering puller set, okay? That's a specialty tool in its own. You're gonna use that quite a bit if you're a heavy line guy like myself. Okay, this is a valve spring compression tool. Now I used this hell out of this at the dealership. I have not used it a lot here at the independent shop because once the head is off, it gets sent to the machine shop. Or at the dealership, yeah, sometimes I'm popping out springs and valves and changing things out. So that came in handy. You know, harmonic balance installers, you got these power steering deals that pull the air out of the system, extraction sockets for like lug nuts, you got your fuel pump, you know, removal tools, those are specialty items, right? Hub pullers. So yeah, what are you working on? That's the bigger question. I guess we don't have to go through every single thing here, but what are you working on, right? I mean, fractional and metric rethread kit, nice and handy to have. You could also get a tap and die kit, which I have that I'll bring, and once the hutch comes in, got those hyper tough bits that I brought to work. Those stay in here, you know what I mean? And then we got some tap sockets. So I mean, there's lots of stuff, man. Look, you could spend just a crap ton of money on tools over time. And I always tell you guys, look, Rome wasn't built in a day. All right, you're never gonna be able to own every single thing that I have in 1 week or 1 month or maybe even a year or 2 years, okay? It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of labor hours to acquire all this stuff. You're gonna buy things that are gonna work out and you're gonna hang on to for 10 years plus. You're gonna buy things that don't work out or that you decided to go a different direction because you found that the quality was a little bit lacking. I've done this. You can always turn around and sell those things. Yeah, you're gonna get penny on the dollar for it, but at least it's going back into your pocket to cover the cost of what you spent on that other item. Like I said, a decade, like 6, 7 years out of an entire decade of turning wrenches before I even remotely found anything as interesting as this layout of this tool grid system, right? I love these trays, man. For that Jamestown service car, having these trays laid in there, that was probably my #1 favorite tool organization, dude. I'm being honest. I really loved those. Everything laid out. I could see what was missing. I could see what the sizes were. That by far was probably my favorite organizational tray / layout. Didn't take a lot of room, everything there. To be honest, you didn't see any of these in the drawers because my plan is to basically permanently keep it on top of the box. Same thing with the Capri set. It's just gonna permanently be up there because I'm gonna use all those all the time. Those are my go-tos. All the stuff in here, that's what I consider my specialty stuff. The stuff that I rarely have to go to, but you know, it's handy to have your swivel stuff, whatever. Yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap it up. Look, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's content. Thanks as always for watching. It's gonna be weird not being here. I'm gonna miss the place. I really am. I don't know that it's fully sunk in yet either. Lots of good memories in this shop. Lots of cool videos too, right? We've done a lot of cool stuff here. A lot of cool stuff. But you know what? One day we might just have our own shop. Even if it's just for the sake of shooting videos with you guys, right? So don't count me out, all right? We're just trying something different, man. I gotta see. I just gotta try it, right? I gotta see if I can learn the other side of this business, man. I want to learn the electrical side and the diagnostic side. I might not be very good at it, you know? I might not like it. I don't know. I'm curious about it. I'm giving up an awful lot to try out something new. But I'll always have good memories, man. See you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.